Before I read this next poem, I also too want to thank my Elder Shadrach for a book that he wrote. It's called The Truth, the Lie, and the Bible. You know, I was at a very difficult point in my life when I read that book, and I really appreciate that book because I had a lot of anger as a black man. You know, when you look at society, look at the state of not just the black man, but black people. I was, you know, in a very low state, and I came across that book, and it touched me in such a way that it changed my life. It changed me for the better. I used to tell folks that I was just an angry black man still trying to recover from the aftershocks of slavery. But when I came across that book, it turned my life around. It's a book that you have to be ready. You really have to be ready for that change. You know, we look at our society, we look at our people, and we have to ask ourselves, you know, is this the society that we want our children to grow up and to grow forward? And you know, back in that time, I wrote a poem called Land Where My Fathers Be. I'd just like to share a little bit with you the poem, Land Where My Fathers Be. Excuse me for not memorizing this. I usually memorize it. But I'm going to read it to you today. Land where my fathers be. Isn't it funny how they insist that Christopher Columbus discovered America? Oh, how they cherish her. Isn't it funny how the God they trust, even Osiris, the eye of Egypt on the dollar bill, shut his eyes and refused to cry while your fathers died? Isn't it cold and somewhat bold how they crushed your soul and then they stole talents of gold from the land of your nativity? Isn't it verse that we be cursed and it get worse while we lose our thirst to put God first in the land of the graven images? Isn't it sad that we be slaves brought on ships at the crack of the whips with blood that dripped on the land that spewed us? Isn't it wild how they kept us in check with a yoke on our neck and made us oppress and gave us no rest in the land of our nativity? Isn't it unjust how they kidnapped our sons and kidnapped our daughters and carried us through the terrible waters to the land of brotherly love? Isn't it strange how they kept us in chains, washed our brains, and made us insane, though we till the soil and though we be royal in the land of opportunity? Isn't it heavy how God chose us, sort of like Moses, a slave that rose up after he woke up in a land where he was not free? Isn't it odd how we still nod at Master's rod while he still trods on the fruits of our productivity? Isn't it libel how they taken the Bible in the name of fame and put us to shame by taking our name, but do err in the perverseness of their vanity? Isn't it familiar, but somewhat peculiar, how they try to kill you and then try to drill you to love one another in the land of your brother? Isn't it wrong to feed the weak to the strong and crush them like calm and then sing the song, this land is your land? Isn't it humble that all we do is grumble, but we should be rotten after years of cotton, but we just keep trotting in the land of our oppressors? Isn't it crazy how they label you lazy while they never paid you for the labor you gave to the land of the plenty? They didn't give you a penny. Isn't it funny how we just a few, but somehow we rule, because they just can't do without you? Isn't it strange how we be like ants, mock them with our dance, just because they can't show a little defiance in the land of the giants? Isn't it clever how God seems to never select the obvious? Oh, ain't it marvelous that we are the meek in the land of the mighty? Isn't it fear in the 400 year that we be here? Nobody cared, nor do they dare shed a tear in the land that we have succumbed. And isn't it glorious and somewhat notorious how we fought back the forest and yet sing the chorus, America, oh how they cherish her in the land where my fathers be.